All right, whenever you want, Deke.
All right, starting now. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Morning Thoughts. Mac, Josh, how we doing today, boys?
I'm tired.
Hell,
Tired.
just watched you walk around your room, like psych yourself up for about a half hour there. Josh, how did Two Beers Deep go last night?
Two Beers Deep went great last night. Talked a lot of hockey, football, XFL, and a little bit of wrestling. So we went for over 2 hours. That may not have been so good, but yeah. But so be it.
Sometimes length means good things. Sometimes length means bad things. But
I don't know. We were grooving.
Yeah, good thing then. We got a bunch of topics for you today. I think we got them all accepted yesterday. I know you were doing the show and we kind of came up with them, Josh, so I hope you agreed with them. But what are we starting off with?
The first thing we're starting off with is Happy Hockey Across America Week.
So you definitely added your own term.
Yeah, I did.
Definitely.
No.
So, I would like to add,
Go ahead.
I'm going to throw in that you hate theme nights into this conversation, but you go first.
It's not a theme night. It's a celebration of the 40-year anniversary of these 1980 men's Olympians defeating the Russian team, the Soviet Union, to go on to advance to win a gold medal in 1980. But here's why it's really important to not so much hockey fans. If you wear your favorite hockey jersey to Chipotle today, it's buy one, get one free burritos.
Interesting.
In honor of Hockey Across America Day or week.
I like that. I'm gonna have to question and see if like all the Chipotles follow that, and you're gonna be
not all of them. It's participating Chipotles. If the one by my work does not, I will make a giant scene.
I would too. Okay, so you hate theme nights.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The theme is hockey.
Okay. And this doesn't feel like pandering to you?
Not in celebration of the 40-year anniversary of something. Okay. Something so monumental.
So this isn't a thing every year?
No. This is it's the 40-year anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. So.
Then I'm very cool with it. Because originally when you said it's Hockey Across America week, I thought it was like a week every year that hockey.
No, Hockey Across America Day is like, or actual USA Hockey Day is like October 11th. So like that day is like when all the NHL teams play and like there's a bunch of outdoor games and all sorts of cool stuff goes on to help try to grow and promote the game. But this is a very special thing because not only did it help grow hockey in America to what it is today, but it was probably one of the most, if not the most important sports moment in American history.
No, 100%. Miracle on Ice is something that everyone remembers. It's fucking nuts.
Even if you weren't alive.
Yeah.
My parents remember listening to it on the radio, like when it was happening. It's very American ass stuff, man.
Yeah. So we're gonna start with, for real though, last week on the bench.
I want to go. I know we're going to talk about some stuff later, but Moorhead's article about free agency that dropped yesterday, him and I were talking about it, and he was going over some of the selections. And I don't know if you saw it, Josh, he made a pick for every single team.
Okay.
Some of them made a lot of sense. Some of them him and I had to talk through, and some of them he said to me, now I know this one's crazy.
But those are the best kind of articles.
Yeah, but I didn't hate. He had Hunter Henry ended up with the Steelers because we let Bud Dupree walk.
I think that was a good one.
Which most of my mocks have been leaning toward us letting Bud Dupree walk, even though I think we sign him in some capacity. But getting a guy like Hunter Henry would be unbelievable.
I mean, I think that's something Big Ben would need when he comes back as a stellar tight end. I mean, Vance McDonald isn't getting the job done. And I think Van Nat walked, right? He's a free agent.
Yeah, he's a free. There's no need to have him.
Yeah. So I think a tight end is a position of need for the Steelers in this upcoming free agency /draft.
Yeah,
for sure, 100%.
I agree with that.
I'm just scrolling through this right now. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Are there any that interest you?
Dante Fowler to the Bengals.
Yeah. He said
that poor bastard. He must be chasing money at that point.
Him and Joe Burrow both.
And Devin McCourty's too good of a human to ever go to the Cleveland Browns.
No, but it makes sense if they're secondary. They don't have safety help. Wasn't McCourty on the Browns before?
It does not make sense, though, knowing Devin McCourty.
The other one was.
The other one, okay. Jason.
Twin, yeah. I mean, that was an interesting article to read for sure, for seeing, like, just kind of seeing where everyone ends up, or where he had some of the big guys end up. I mean, he has Tom Brady going to the Chargers, which obviously, as we all know, is pretty interesting.
Melv Gordon to Houston.
Yeah, that's the place that it's the number one landing spot. It was the number one landing spot for him last year when he was a free agent, or like through the whole saga.
I like Amari Cooper being a Colt. This is some good stuff in here.
Yeah, that one's going to be interesting because I think the Colts attack it in the draft, and then you have Jacoby Brissett there, and are you really going to capitalize on a guy that needs to be the highest paid wide receiver in football with a quarterback that, even though I love him, most people aren't sure if he's like a starting quarterback. So you're really going to commit to a number one long-term receiver without having a guy that you believe to throw the ball. It's an interesting kind of dilemma.
For sure. There's another one that I liked. I can't remember which one it was now. I'm not gonna pull it up.
I like just scrolling through the website. We are pretty diverse this week. We got some football talk. We got some wrestling in there. We've got baseball, a lot of basketball, some XFL. Like, it's a good blend this week, I think.
Emmanuel Sanders, Saints, was one that I liked. And then the other one that I liked but don't want to see, without a doubt, is Jadeveon Clowney to the Patriots.
Yeah, him and I talked about him for a while because the Patriots don't overpay, and Jadeveon Clowney's going to demand top money.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. My favorite one was probably Kyle Van Noy to the Lions. Reason being that Kyle Van Noy said he wants to stay in Patriots uniform. He just doesn't. He doesn't give them a discount. So you're looking at Matt Patricia, who needs a middle linebacker, outside linebacker area, paying him some decent money to go play for him.
Yeah, that would be a good fit. Definitely be a good fit. Guys, you know what I liked on the bench the most this week?
What?
How Hodo
Attempted.
almost returned.
Minor setbacks.
Almost.
Fire alarms, not working webcams.
Almost being the key word. Almost being the key word. We're back. We're coming, though. We're coming on Wednesday. We'll be there.
Oh, Lord. Hold on to your shorts.
I believe it when Droy learns how to use technology.
We got it up to where, like, he was working it. He was using it on his phone. But, like, so the camera was different.
Every laptop has a camera since, like...
He couldn't figure his out. He walked through it for like 20 minutes and he couldn't figure it out. It's interesting. But typical Hodo stuff.
Yeah.
We're back, though. We're back, though. Coming out on Wednesday.
I believe it.
Yeah. We'll be there. You be ready.
Not holding my breath.
Yeah. All right. This week, Ryan Newman walked away from one of the scarier scenes in NASCAR we've seen in quite some time. This whole thing is nuts to begin with, let alone now all the controversy surrounding it.
Well, you never see guys like getting those crashes anymore, and I think it's a level of intensity of the situation. I mean,
100%.
You're always looking for a good old pit fight. You're always looking for guys to be like, oh, why'd you cut me off there, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what could have happened? But you're always like, okay, like, yeah, you're going fast. That could have happened. So to see it actually happen is absolute insanity. I'm pretty sure 80% of the people that saw that clip thought he was dead. There's always that, small amount that's like, no, they got the best medical staff. Their gear's prepared for flames. Their cars are protected. But the dude was like comatose or paralyzed for a little amount of time. So the fact that he walked out of the hospital on his own is literally amazing. And I wouldn't be surprised if he starts racing again, just because NASCAR people, dude, they're scary. Like NASCAR drivers are scary individuals.
I mean, you got to be a certain type of crazy to be able to sit into a car and go 200 miles per hour and tailgate someone around the track for 6 hours. I mean, like, I think, like, so, like, before I actually saw the crash, like, I saw Colin Dunlap tweet something, and it kind of put it into perspective. Like, he was like, you know, I tailgate people on the turnpike at 70 miles per hour every day. Like, and that's scary enough. Like, I can't imagine going 200 miles per hour, getting clipped, having your car turn sideways. And, like, the inside of those cars, like, there's, like, nothing in them other than just, like, body frame. So, like, just imagine getting thrown around in something like that. And, I mean, when I saw the crash, I was like, there's no chance he's walking away from that. Like, that's nuts. And for to be able to, like, walk out of the hospital 2 days later is completely remarkable. When I saw the photo and the video of it, I was like, that's amazing. I mean, he looked fine. It's just wild. It's a great thing to see, that's for sure.
What, if any, fault do you put on Denny Hamlin?
I mean, to a certain point, like, it's kind of just like they're doing whatever it takes and to, like, win. And I think at that point, like, he was doing something that's pretty common in the sport, I would think, right? Like, he was drafting off of him and he, like, clipped him, right?
Yeah, but it was was he drafting and clipping him, or did he hit him on purpose?
I mean, I don't
like saying that I blame middle linebackers for Aaron Hernandez. Like it. I know you're going. You blame Ryan Clark for Willis McGahee not really being able to function as a human anymore as a running back. Like it's. I get what you're saying, and you're right in the sense of, like, if you analyzed it in a way of, yeah, but you meant to spin him out and then that happened. But they all know, like, that's part of the sport, and it sucks to say it like that, but it really is. I mean, do you blame the guy that, you know, did the thing that led to someone getting hurt? And it's you can live like that, but I think most of the guys in professional settings are like, you know, yeah, he tried to do something that is pretty typical, which is spin me out there, and it turned into a catastrophic event. But if you sit there and be like, I completely blame him, it kind of looks bad, because that's, you know, quote unquote part of the sport, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What about the celebration though?
For winning?
I think it would take a little, like, happiness away from me. Like, if I was in his spot, like, I feel like it would be hard to celebrate. But again, the Daytona 500 is one of the biggest races on this, like, on the series, so, like,
right,
it's kind of hard. But I don't know. I think it's a tough situation. I mean, I think everyone out there was showing remorse after the race and stuff like that, because they didn't know how it would turn out. But I think the fact that he was able to walk away is the key point to focus on, not a matter of how Denny Hamlin got across the line, I think.
But also, it's Denny Hamlin's third Daytona 500, so he joins a very, very elite class.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have. I mean, it's tough. I probably wouldn't have been celebrating that much on my conscience, but when you've peaked and you've won the race for the third time and you join elite class, like, I don't know, it's you could hurt your head all day trying to think of situations why he's an idiot or why this and that, but I agree.
Okay, cool. Drew Brees is set to return to the New Orleans Saints for what feels like the gajillionth season. Thoughts?
Right now, he's back. He's the GOAT right now. Number one in yards, touchdowns, and completions. The only thing he needs is a second Super Bowl, and then he's in the greatest all-time conversation. And the sad part is that as soon as he retires, you have to imagine that Tom Brady's going to pass. Well, not completion, but I think the Saints would be screwed if he didn't come back.
I'm glad he's coming back. I don't know what. Yeah, I really don't know what they would do if he didn't.
Taysom Hill.
All right. I mean, that leads to, like, another story. Do you think he's really worth franchise QB money? Like, did you saw the quote he came out with and was like, I feel like I'm a franchise. Yeah.
For me personally, it's Greg and I have this conversation a lot where I did a blog on guys that I think would be just as good, like just as productive in the Taysom Hill role. So it's the great conundrum of, is he forced into the offense so much that he has to be great, or is he actually the most unique player in the NFL? For me, he's a good passer. He throws deep balls 50 yards. I forget who he hit in the playoffs, but it was insane. But the difference for me is truly just the inability to have said you've been a quarterback for how long. And the other side of the ball is, if you take Taysom Hill out of that offense and the role he's in and put him at quarterback, your offense has a gaping hole in the Taysom Hill role. And you lose a bit of that creativity. You lose a bit of that. Is he going to throw? Is he going to run? You lose that, like, oh, he's out in the slot now. Which obviously Sean Payton is one of the best coaches we've seen, so it's going to be interesting. But no, for me, no. I don't believe Taysom Hill deserves franchise quarterback money, and that's just because we're talking about the same team that wouldn't pay Jimmy Graham as a wide receiver when they franchise tagged him, even though 60% of his routes were out of the wide receiver position.
Yeah. I mean, it was just intriguing, but to see Drew Brees come back, I think is fun. Like, I hope they take that next step this year. He's a guy you can always root for, that's for sure.
Yep. Could you imagine if Nick Saban got Drew Brees in Miami like he wanted?
Wow.
Because we would be talking about Nick Saban as one of the smartest coaches in NFL history.
Would we, though?
Yes.
Like, do you think Drew Brees?
Yes. Because he was
all he needed.
He was in the Chargers. Like, Drew Brees was great.
Yeah, but do you think that was all Nick Saban needed to be a successful NFL?
I would say the Saints haven't always had a great team, but Drew Brees has always been great.
What year, out of curiosity, would that have been?
Let us look.
Because I kind of agree with Mac. Like, you think of some really good Saints players that have been around Drew Brees, and I can't think of a Dolphins elite receiver or running back.
Well, let's look, because this was back in the day.
I mean, Nick Saban.
2006, he went to the Saints.
Nick Saban has always been successful on the college level without a good quarterback.
Come on now.
College
that's a completely different conversation.
But, like, I'm just saying, like,
there's no NFL team that has been great without a quarterback.
Just saying.
I mean, I know you are. You're wrong, but you are saying. So they had Joey Harrington at quarterback, who was a Detroit Lion for a little bit. They had Dante Culpepper on the reserve list. Ronnie Brown, good running back.
Good running back. Wildcat.
Wes Welker was on the receiving core.
Chris Chambers was their best receiver that year.
He was bomb back in the day when he was in the league. Chris Chambers was good.
Yeah. I mean, Derek Hagan was good. He's a name. But what I'm getting at is Drew Brees is, like, here, Joey Harrington.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that statement. I'm just saying, like, does one player make a coach?
But the difference would be that he would still be there with Drew Brees having this success and this longevity, because he was the only guy that was taking the biggest push to get Drew Brees, and the Miami doctors said, no, he's too hurt. So then Drew Brees goes to the Saints. He actually comes back, revitalizes. So, and I would also argue Brady Belichick.
You think Saban Brees is as good as Brady Belichick? I
mean, it's all hypothetical, so I could say right now they're way better. But you never, for me, I think that it just, what it does is keeps Nick Saban in the NFL.
We just found another rabbit hole podcast for Brooksy.
Man, I just don't. I love it.
I don't see
I want to say yes, but
I would love to see it, but yeah, I don't agree.
I just can't. I guess, like, maybe you are more active in free agency and trading to try to put pieces around Brees. I don't.
But you're also talking about 2006, where Drew Brees was just getting over there. I mean, now we're talking in 2020, where Drew Brees is,
one of the greatest.
I mean, one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen play. The most proficient quarterback with this completion rating we've ever seen play. And some of the times, the Saints are really freaking good right now, but they are not always good. Like they really, the one consistency with the Saints has always been Drew Brees. Then they get Michael Thomas, so they finally get him some help. They look at their running back room. I mean, they had Reggie Bush, who was, electric for a little bit, but he wasn't, what
that next year Ricky Williams shows up.
Yeah, and Ricky Williams, I mean, that was literally selling the farm for a guy that was supposed to be God.
Well, he was for a minute.
For a second, yeah.
He was very good. He was very good.
He was good. But
from
they also
08
sold
to
every pick
10.
in that draft.
Yeah.
They sold every pick in their draft to get Ricky Williams. I don't think he's worth that.
And then he quit the sport so he could go smoke weed in peace.
Yep.
And that's really a lesson we can all learn from. All right. Staying on NFL. The NFL
also had Ricky Williams that year, fun fact.
What?
The Dolphins had Ricky Williams that year in 2006.
Oh, yeah, he didn't play, though.
No, on the roster. He would have played if Drew Brees was there. I can say that because it's a hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
Pretty sure he was suspended.
You and your hypotheticals.
But, yes.
You love hypotheticals.
You totally threw me off. Where
Can't
are we?
prove me wrong.
NFL format.
Playoff format.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, did you see what J.J. Watt tweeted out yesterday?
No.
I did not know.
He said hard pass on the new CBA.
J.J. Watt didn't like it?
If Captain America doesn't like it, I don't know what to do.
I don't think Captain America gets to say that unless he's going to do something about it.
Maybe he just doesn't like more people getting into the playoffs, because I can, from a player's perspective, I can see it. Like, you compete so hard to compete for these. You play so hard to compete for these 6 spots in the NFL, and then all in the playoffs, and all of a sudden they add another one. I mean, for example, like put it in the Steelers' perspective. Like, I mean, they would probably enjoy it because they missed out on the playoffs the last.
They would be
years,
in the playoffs 8 consecutive years.
But like for a guy, like maybe for the Patriots who are in the playoffs every year at the top at 1 or 2 spot, and they're like, well, why are we all of a sudden just adding another team? Like, so I mean, I can understand it from both sides, I guess. But I mean, I think it's interesting. Gives the Bills another chance to get in the playoffs. I'm okay with it.
I don't know. I enjoyed and I wrote the blog about it this past week. I enjoyed the conversation about one bye week.
Yeah.
I disagree with Greg from last night from what I saw. I think 4 preseason games is not – I don't think 3 is too much. I don't think 4 is too much, reason being that each game has a very, very defined role. Number 1, get your feet wet. Number 2, see guys that are going to be your B-list guys. 3 is dress rehearsal. 4 is bubble guys.
Yeah.
So for me, which game do you cut out? It'd probably be that second game. So first game would be feet wet, second game dress rehearsal, third game bubble game. Then you get into the conversation about an extra game during the season, which I think that most players, are going to despise. Reason being, they add Thursday night, you have Monday night, you have Sunday night football. The quick turnaround, it's already 4 days for some teams to get ready, prepare, get your body physically ready, injuries. Most players just want to play on Sundays. They don't care about Thursday or Monday, even the Sunday night, just because it's the quickest turnover for a sport that you're literally diving head first at someone. So that's an interesting one, but I do like the 1 bye week thing. Reason being is that it would make a team push much harder to get to the 1 seed as opposed to the 2.
No, I completely agree with that point. Just the fact that it makes that bye week so much more important, because you're going to be the only team that has a week off in the playoffs. And I mean, that could be the difference between a lot of different things. I mean, it gives you so much more time to prepare for teams and things like that. I mean, I think we've always said it. I mean, Bill Belichick is one of the most dangerous coaches in the NFL, if not the most dangerous coach in the NFL, coming off of a bye week. So, I mean, give him that in the playoffs, and he's going to take it even further. It's crazy.
Except for he won't have the bodies to take it further soon. Man, I hate it. I hate it.
Why?
first off, it feels like saturation for saturation's sake. It's a big push to get the Super Bowl the Sunday before President's Day so that the Super Bowl becomes a national holiday.
Well, for that.
Me too.
But, like,
100%.
I just can't justify it, especially in a game where they blatantly ignore the kind of, injuries that their players go through and their life after football and all that kind of stuff. To me, it's just blatant disrespect for the humans that they already put through the factory of football. I hate the
Much mouth.
that word. You know what I mean. Of football in general.
Cut it.
But that's because I watched, for years, these kids at these schools knowing they're not going to make the NFL, but they think they are, and they try to trick themselves into thinking they are, and that so many of these kids fall victim to this trap, and then they just end up back in the cycle. And, it's just I really hate football for that reason.
What does that have to do with this CBA?
By extending the playoffs, you're creating more chances for people to get hurt. Technically, you're paying the players a little bit more, but you're not giving the players any new freedoms other than smoking.
Well, the marijuana charge is a big one that they push for,
Yeah.
where they're doing less drug tests and they're not doing as many sanctions on people caught with the drug test. You also finally get paid for bye weeks in the playoff. The first two teams that get a bye week in the playoffs traditionally haven't been paid, so they'll get their game checks.
Yeah.
And that's all good, but that's little chunks of money at a time. I know, I understand, like it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, but to me, like, free agency needs to be an actual free market inside of the NFL, as opposed to the franchising tags and the transition tags, all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, because of the way the salary cap works, like, these guys aren't getting paid enough money to support themselves for the rest of their lives with the medical bills and the lifestyle and their families and all that kind of stuff. Like, broke. Just think about broke, right?
Yeah, but I would argue that that's becoming a dinosaur philosophy inside the NFL, especially with guys franchising their names, their brands, their understanding of social media platforms, their streaming, their whereabouts, their understanding that, I need to become an icon more. And you could argue that's the downfall of one Antonio Brown, but that's also the upside of certain guys like Zach Banner. Zach Banner is never going to be the greatest tackle, guard, center, whatever you want to put him at in NFL history, but Zach Banner is a cult classic. And for that reason, it's going to be a lot harder for the Steelers to ever cut or move Zach Banner because the city of Pittsburgh loves him. So this creation of a status above football. And then you look at guys that, you say that, medical bills and whatnot, but you look at guys like Calvin Johnson, you look at guys like Andrew Luck, you look at guys like Barry Sanders, Luke Kuechly, these guys that are quote unquote retiring early, but they get in, get their chicken straight, they get out, is becoming more of the norm. More people are understanding, and with science, with documentaries, with this knowledge, you can make an argument that people were lied to the same way the American people were lied to about cigarettes, about the dangers of the NFL. But nowadays, if you play professional football, it is 100%. You have to be where you're a gladiator. And that's not this, it's you're trading your health for money, for fame, to set your family up for life. And I think the broke conversation was early 2000s. And I think that the NFL, at least, I know a lot of players are, I forget who it was on Hard Knocks or something. One of the veterans was sitting there doing a math equation, talking about, how much you actually make and how much you make on this and how to put it away. And I think it was on the Raiders, and I can't remember who it was, but more players are becoming way more conscious about their health, their efforts, their money type of stuff. So, and I mean, Greg tossed in that this would open up for another bye week. A second bye week in the NFL would be literally like gold.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see it because you do see players that over the years that, play for 5 or 6 years and then they go broke. Like, I think Vince Young is the big example of that. Like, he came in out of college, he's one of the hottest quarterbacks, and he kind of fizzled out late in his career. And now he's broke. Like, he's struggling for money. And I think that happens a lot more often than we'd like to see. But but then you also have players like Rob Gronkowski, who's said, I've been on the record numerous times that he said he's never used his salary for anything. He's living off straight endorsement money.
Lynch does that as well.
Yeah, through the course of his career. So you have guys that are still approaching the financial aspect. It's smart, but but yes, it has been a problem. And yes, towards the end of their career, after they leave the league, there's still the medical problems that they have, the medical bills and things like that. But I think people are starting to approach it in a smarter way than it has been in the past.
I just would say that Lynch and Gronkowski are superstar players that would have had, even if they would have used their salary money while they were playing, or even have the fact that they had the sponsors to live off of. I'm talking more about, like, your point, Derek, like the banner guys who are like nobodies.
Yeah.
Never will be anybody's, and they're making a lot less money than Gronk and Lynch did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those guys are the guys that suffer from this, not the Gronks and the Lynches of the world.
Why is that? Just because there's another game attached?
Because it's another chance to get hurt. It's another extra amount of time to put your body through. And if you are making the playoffs, then that's an even extra game on top of that. Like, it really extends.
Yeah, but you could make the argument with that they should just not play football then, because they could get hurt.
I don't think they should play football. I think
Then
football's
it's not
a
about
dumb sport.
Yeah, it's about the sport in general, yeah.
And I don't think that the league takes care of its players.
I mean, I don't even think that's an opinion at this point. They're trying to put a facade up that they do, but no, they don't give a shit. They turn over people all day.
But I'm not going to pat the NFL on the back for extending its season because of that.
Well, I don't think we're patting. I think we're just talking about the benefits of what this has and the potential for the game of football more than anything. It's not – I mean, if J.J. Watt's going to sit there and say this is a giant pile of garbage, then you have to look at it from a player's perspective 100%. But they did add things in here that the players have been asking for and that will benefit the players. I mean, it's like any negotiation. It's a give or take, which sucks, but
it's my opinion. So, you ready to move on?
Yep.
That piece of metal. That's all I put.
Yeah, Rob Manfred's a douche.
This was the stupidest quote that I saw. I mean, to basically downgrade a professional sports trophy, something that every little kid across the country sets goals to possibly hoist one day, and where I don't even know how many players are in the league, but
and I feel like for baseball,
however many players, that's the ultimate goal of making the MLB and hoisting up the commissioner's trophy, and he just basically condemned it to being just a piece of metal. Like, I think that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, and I know he's backtracked on his comments already, but the matter of the fact is he said it, and I think he's completely unaware of kind of the players' approach. And how the players are feeling in this whole cheating sign stealing scandal. And it's when I saw the video, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I liked Rob Manfred at first, but lost a lot of respect.
There's on any given day 750 baseball players.
Yeah.
In the major league.
Imagine if Gary Bettman said that about Canada would explode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of them is a hollowed cup that has been passed down from generation to generation.
And the other is a stand-up. I mean, honestly, if Goodell said that, to bring up your point,
outrage.
If Goodell said you guys are all out there killing yourselves for a chunk of or a hunk of metal, like the CBA would destroy him.
For the Miller Lite Luge. That's what they're fighting for.
Basically. I mean, think about it this way. Like, honestly, if Adam Silver said that about the Larry O'Brien trophy, like, LeBron would freak out. Like, it's there's a lot of reasons to play professional sports. But if you are someone that – and you could be someone that's just in it 100% for money, and I think that's a fine way to look at it, get in, get out. But if you look at it like, I love this sport, I want to be one of the greatest ever, a championship is the only way to do that. You cannot be considered the greatest of all time at anything without having to have won that coveted title. It's just, if we were gonna let anyone do that, Phillip Rivers would be the GOAT. You know what I mean? Like, you need to win the trophy. I mean, look at the Buffalo Bills went 4 straight times, and you can tell me right now that Jim Kelly does not go to sleep at night and still think about that.
Yeah, 100% he does.
And they called it a hunk of metal.
It's just, I don't even know what else
so
to say
disrespectful. And I know he was trying to be like, guys, like, I'm not going to take the trophy away. It's just a physical piece of metal. But like, what an idiotic statement. He's completely botched this entire thing, even when we all thought he was doing well from start to finish.
He's lost a lot of respect over the course of the last 3 weeks with this whole scandal. It's ridiculous.
Idiot.
Yeah, I agree with you guys completely. I have nothing to add to that conversation.
It's
just insane to hear a commissioner call its own sport stupid, basically.
I think wrote in my article that he didn't even attack that they still make managers wear uniforms. He attacked the trophy. Like, if you're going to attack baseball, attack the stupid shit, not the trophy.
Right.
Tradition!
Except for the trophy, because it's a pile of shit.
You guys left me one room for one topic, so I added in the NHL Trade Deadline.
You already got it. Your hockey jersey of the week, Deke.
Nope.
Sorry, man. That sucks.
It's finally hockey season. I get to do this.
Okay.
Finally, it's been hockey season.
Zuckerberg!
You know how hard it is liking the least popular sport your entire life?
I would argue the WNBA has something to say about that, too.
Good point. That's a great point.
What's up?
Is that your brother?
Hey, puppy.
Oh, that's so sad.
The cone of shame. The cone of shame. Good boy. Good boy. All right.
Does this mean I have to go out and get a dog and have
for next week? You need a dog interruption. A dog puppet. Yeah, all I just kind of want to bring up is that I think the NHL Trade Deadline might be kind of exciting this week, Monday. It's Monday. For the first time in a couple of years, we might actually see some fireworks. There's a lot of teams that are having some serious injury problems. There's a lot of teams that need a goalie, that kind of stuff. What?
When is the deadline?
Monday.
Do the Pens make another move?
Do we get a left-handed defender?
We'll find out Saturday. We get the update whether or not Dumoulin and Marino are on pace to return before the playoffs, or if they're had setbacks or they're more injured than originally appeared. Okay. If that is the case, yes, Rutherford will go get a left-hand defenseman. Apparently, he still wants a bottom six forward. I don't think he likes Bukestad. I could see Bukestad getting traded, but he's been hurt. So
what about Buke? Because sometimes the parents aren't the issue.
What'd you say?
What about Buke? Like, if his dad's a big deal, maybe we can just ban his dad from the stadium. You said Bukestad.
Bukestad.
Yeah, Bukestad. What about Buke?
So, Greg Robinson was caught with 150 pounds of weed and 3 duffel bags.
That was good, and you know it. That was good, and you know it.
Wait,
don't you dare go to Greg Robinson.
Wait, to go back.
I want to talk about hockey.
No, you don't. Nobody wants to talk about hockey but me.
Is Matt Murray?
Is
Matt Murray still on the table?
No.
He's Matt Murray, hockey and goalie.
Well, we had that big article, I don't know how long ago that Marty wrote, and so I was just curious if that was still
Matt Murray was definitely on the table at that point, but Matt Murray will not be on the table for the remainder of the season. I would say at the beginning of next season, you could probably look at that. They might try to go to arbitration, get a year out of him. I don't know.
Did you guys see if he and Jari are both up? I heard the conversation, but I had to leave last night.
Wait, I'm so sorry.
Murray and Jari are both free agents, and they're going to have to make a decision next? Okay.
Correct.
Because I heard that conversation, but I didn't hear how it ended. So we're into kind of another Fleury Murray situation, right?
Same exact thing.
Okay.
Same exact thing.
Except there's not a team that gets one of them.
We need an expansion
Unfortunately.
draft now.
Well, I mean, there was supposed to be an expansion draft.
Who was it?
It's supposed to be Seattle.
Ah, that's right.
But they keep pushing them back. So, yeah. So, like, poor Penguins did play that perfectly again. But they –
Who else would we have to give up in that, do you think? I know that's like a very –
Who will we have to give up in the expansion draft?
Yeah.
Probably one of our D.
Yeah.
Because they'll protect Letang and Dumoulin. And then they'll get to probably protect one more. So it'll be like Marino. So like Pettersson is exposed kind of thing.
Okay.
What about Petter? If his son's exposed, do you think that Petter's
So Greg Robinson,
hockey names are so funny.
I hate everything. Greg Robinson put a lot of weed in some duffel bags and tried to drive around with it.
Yeah, he had like 200 pounds, 175.
100. I thought I saw 150.
Official count is 150. It was reported that it was 175 for a while, but
he was driving across the border.
Yeah, you know, just
how bad is Cleveland?
How bad is Cleveland?
This is him trying to get caught. He's like, I'm crying for help. Somebody get this man some help. Josh, you want to talk about mental health in the NFL? This guy is out here putting his life on the line to no longer be a Brown.
That's why Devin McCourty's not going there.
I don't think he's in the league anymore. I think he's a former Browns lineman.
Wasn't he just this past year? Am I crazy?
Hang on, I'm looking to see when he
I
played.
thought he was tackle this past year.
I thought it said a former.
Well, now he's a former.
No, he's definitely a former now.
Yeah, he was their offensive tackle this year. Like literally this year, which is why a lot of people have him taking Mekhi Becton in the draft.
He will become a free agent next month.
He's free agent now.
Yeah, I wonder which penitentiary is going to pick him up off the waiver wire. Dude, how do you not have people for this? This makes me so mad. Every time an NFL player gets a DUI, bro, I would not even want to drive if I was in the NFL. If I was, engulfing myself in the jazz cabas of the devil, I would have a guy for that. How do you drive to Mexico yourself?
And like 150 pounds, that's like a lot. Like you can't just hide that in a car.
That's
like
Greg Mallett with 2 10-pound weights in his pocket.
So can we talk about that for a second, though? Yeah. That, to me, is the actual story. He got 150 pounds of weed in just 3 duffel bags. That's incredible. Yeah. The man's an idiot facade.
Yeah.
That's so much stuff in just 3 duffel bags? Like, what?
Because weed, if I'm correct, is a plant.
Yes,
and
you're correct.
Plants don't weigh that much, except for trees.
Yes.
Okay. He's a legend. Bring him back. I wonder if
he'll play in the XFL.
Will the CBA's new marijuana rules help him out here?
He probably saw that was coming, and so he's like, you know what?
Give me the third bag.
I'm gonna go across. Yeah, come on.
Give me the third
I'm gonna need it.
Keep bringing him in. Keep bringing him in.
I can just see him with like Cool Ranch Doritos and fiery Cheetos and Mountain Dew in the passenger seat.
What's that smell, son? Doritos, officer.
I farted. Officer.
I just can't.
Maybe
3 duffel bags of weed is just like, and that they're like Louis Vuitton duffel bags too.
No,
like
I think these are Burlington Coat Factory.
Oh, really?
No, they're probably just like.
No, they're probably Louis.
Just plastic.
100%. They're probably like they bought them at Wiz Khalifa's store or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't look in here, officer. Wink, wink. What a
It's just
jag.
Just a bunch of weed.
I love it. It's the best story that's come out probably like this month in
The
sports.
weirdest part for me is that Quan Bray, who was a Colt, was with him. Like, what?
Why you just what?
One of the
Quan
bags
Bray-
was his.
Why are you just gonna drive?
How
I'm
do you
not
guys know each
associating
other?
Myself that like nah.
Hey, bro, you want to drive to Mexico with me today?
No, they're
Pick up
both
150 pounds of weed.
like, God, some people's kids, man. He's 27 and he's done forever in
Yep.
life, not even just football.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's also a very shitty football player.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You think Baker put him up to it? It's Baker's
Yeah,
weed.
Baker's
He
the
sells
like the
Baker for
ringleader.
$35 for a gram.
It's like Michael Scott buying weed.
Dude, I was cracking up. Moorhead showed me a meme last night of, it was a black guy behind a counter giving out samples, and a white guy was up, and he says, "Do you want a graham cracker?" And the white guy says, "A gram of what?" I laughed so hard because it was Moorhead showing me, and because of that, like, oh, yeah, a gram for 35, I'll take it. I was like, I hate you, Austin. He just gives it. Ugh. I love the internet.
It's a great place.
All right, that was the last thing we had.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to bed.
Smart man. All right, thank you guys for watching the Idiot Hour. This is you messed me up because I messed it up in the text, and I don't know. Thanks for watching 2 Beers Deep at 6 a.m. Thanks for watching Hodo. We finally recorded.
Oh.
Before we close down, though, I'm excited for Saturday.
Yeah. Good old kicking competition.
I'm going to write a blog today on the odds-on favorites the way I did with Wiffle Ball. I'm trying to get a final head count. Moorhead's brother might come. Ian, not Keaton. I invited Keaton. He is still in college. I'm very mad at him.
Still don't have a cup of coffee in my hand.
Very frustrating.
It's terrible.
Bring it from Waynesburg. But we'll have some good people. We'll figure it out. It'll be fun. Denny got his tee, so we don't have to pull it and have someone hold it. He has a football. I'm probably going to bring one. I got my cleats. We'll be good.
Can I kick?
Fun.
Of course.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a leg.
Do you tow it? Are you a tower?
Yeah.
How much you want to bet he has those Viking kicker flat toe shoes?
I kick in ballerina shoes. Like Dee and Dexter's Laboratory.
like the steel toe boots.
Yeah, basically.
I do want to set this precedent though that we are going to probably do like 5-yard, 10-yard, 15, 20, and like everyone gets like a kick or two, whatever it is. But you're not allowed to run from like half field to the ball on the 5.
No
like
shit.
Yeah,
it's
got to be like 3 or 4 steps.
3-step drop back.
Just real quick, because we all came from some less than stellar small towns. The kid that would kick in steel toe boots in high school, that kid is my hero.
We had a coach. It was Mike Geiselhart, who's written for us as dad. He would say at soccer practice, "If I can do it in steel toe boots, what's your excuse?" And one day I said, "But Mr. Geiselhart, you did it wrong." And he made me run a lot. I said, "But you can't do it." And he made me run a lot. So that's my hero.
There you go.
Good call, Josh. All right, guys. I will see you next week. Thanks for watching Morning Thoughts. We'll have some fun video content coming this weekend.
Bye, guys.
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg.